Welcome to today's talk session. My name is Deidre Moss, and I'm the host of Can We Talk? I'm an educator, motivator, and a talk connoisseur. Today, we continue our series on Can We Talk Politics? And we again welcome candidates from the Bahamas Constitution Party, the BCP, namely Dion Pratt, Terrence Rogers, and Ms. Lavita Thurston. So at this time, I will pass the virtual mic to our guests to have them introduce themselves.
Is that me? Am I up? Hello, everyone. My name is Dion Pratt. I am the Secretary General for the Bahamas Constitution Party, and I am representing the wonderful constituency of Bamboo Town down in the south.
Yes, and it's a pleasure to be here. My name is Terrence Rogers, and I represent Seabreeze Estates for Seabreeze constituency for the BCP party. And it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
You're muted.
Oh, sorry. Good evening, all. My name is Mistress Lavita Thurston, and I am the candidate for Fort Charlotte and the MP. To God be the glory.
Speak those things that be not.
Thank you. I want to thank you for those introductions. And with no further ado, we'll get into our session today. And so can we talk briefly about your background? So we'll start with you, Ms. Pratt. Can you tell us briefly about your background? And you mentioned your constituency, but you can talk about that again. Briefly tell us about your background, which constituency you are presenting yourself for as a political candidate, and why have you presented yourself?
Okay, very briefly as I can, because I am by profession a teacher. Been a teacher for most of my adult life. I've taught nearly every subject at either the junior or the high school. But the last couple of years, I have been a computer and a business teacher. I have a bachelor's from McGill University in Montreal, and I am pursuing a master's in business administration with University of the People. Why am I presenting myself at this time in our history is because I believe we need a change in the country. There's absolutely no doubt about it. We cannot go on the way we are. I'm not a politician. I am a leader. I believe that all of us are leaders. And so even if I didn't believe it, I have to believe it. I know that I am. God has made me so. We are leaders, so we don't do the normal politicking. And that is one of the reasons why I like the Bahamas Constitution Party. It is not a political boys club, girls club. You come in because you feel that God sent you and you offer yourself in service. And this is what the BCP party is. And this is what our agenda is for the country in terms of helping persons to realize their purpose, to walk in it, without having to do all the curry favoring and boot licking and other nonsense that goes on in a lot of these political parties. We don't do that type of shenanigans. And so we think that God has a destiny for the country. And when I heard the presentation that was in 2017, I fell in love with the party and I've stayed ever since. And that's me.
Well, again, my background is a kind of big thing, but I'll make it as small as possible. My servicing started before 12 years old. And a lot of you may not know this, but Prince Philip himself came down and crowned me the first international president of the Youth Rotary Club in the Sheraton Hotel. And you know, I have like about 7 trades that I'm certified at, but 12 things that I used to do. I say used to because there are a lot of things I don't do now. My main profession is music. I taught it in the schools as well. And a lot of churches know me for training their musicians some years ago from youth. I play different instruments, but the keyboard is my main love. So technical engineering has been my main field. Places like Compass Point, which was designed by myself and a Chinese Englishman in London, which became the #1 studio in the world for sound. So I'm certified with that. I was asked by other studios to design them, like in New York and stuff like that. But servicing has been my thing because I've traveled extensively, different parts of the world, and mainly carrying the gospel. My life is built on visions, and when I was asked to see the servant leader of the BCP party and learned what they were about, I realized it was part of the vision. And as you know, the people are asking for a change. So what does the word change means? It's not they're asking for another party. They're asking for a change. And the only change is really going back, as was in the beginning, so should be at the end. The government in the beginning was God, who gave us the first laws. And Moses continued to carry that on with his judges. But we've asked to be like other nations and give us a king. We've asked for politics, and we see what politics have done for us. So now God is calling for stewardship. And if there's going to be a change, that change will have to come by the only one who instituted this all, God himself. And we at the BCP party are people who have lives have been dedicated, and we believe we've been chosen before the time begun to bring this change where everyone in the Bahamas is a part of everyone in Parliament, and every voice will be heard. And we know that God, who said, except the Lord build a house, they labor in vain that build it. We know that God will build this house. And he has chosen the Bahamas. The Bahamas is his place. And this choice has made everyone a particular people. When the world will be going in chaos, we will be under the guidance of the way, the direction, truth, and life. Thank you very much.
My background is one of this. For many years, I've always wanted to be, from a child actually, I wanted to be a police. But as I grew, I went into other things, and then I ended up as the court interpreter for about 18 years now, and watching lawyers come, lawyers go, the way they do business, some with integrity, some with none. Some let their moral standards down for a few dollars. And then 6 years ago, my daughter was murdered. And we had a trial, but because 2 jurors say not guilty, even though the evidence was so strong, a retrial was ordered.
Mhm.
But in watching the process of things by some lawyers that come in and do cases, sometimes they have no regard for your time. Even the defendants that are on bail, they'll have to wait there or come back and forth because the lawyer is a no-show. And that So, that bothered me because I said, I want to be different. I want to offer to our society something different, something new, because I know what God wants for us. He wants righteousness from us. He wants holiness from us. And when I joined the BCP party in 2017, when I ran in that election, I continued keeping up with them. And so now I'm a part of this upcoming election. My plan is to change the current system we are under. Because let's go back to even yesterday. I don't know how much of y'all saw the news. I was talking with Clint Watson. There's a situation where a child was killed, 15-year-old in GHS. The child even ain't in the grave as yet. And those two boys charged for murder and attempted murder, and they out on bail 2 weeks later. And it made me feel like because that's a Haitian child who's dead, and they are Bahamians who did the murder, alleged, let's give them bail. They went to someplace, Simpson Pen, where you could say it's more like a at-home place or a place to relax until your case get called up. Those boys did not even have a chance to think about what they did. They didn't even show no remorse for that child life that they took. And so as parents, we should not even be happy about this. This system we are under. In a way, they're supposed to get bail right away, 2 weeks later. We have persons who are charged for murder, trying to get bail 3 years later. I know somebody who applied 4 times and was denied. He was in jail for 3 years. And he was denied several times, but yet these two boys get bail. Who are they connected to is the question. Why did this happen? Now, the child that are living is in fear of his life. One of the family members called them and tell them they need to get the boy off the island because those two who did the killing and the
Ms. Thurston,
attempted
we don't want to get into Ms. Thurston, we don't want to get too much into that, but we just want to talk about your background and what you want to offer your constituency. Now, I know you said your background, you've worked in the court system, but we don't want to get too much into that area.
No, I'm not
Do you have
getting into detail with that, but my plan is justice for all, rich or poor. Whatever the nationality is, it don't matter. Justice for all. I want to change the current system we are now under. We have a lot of hurting people. Only hurt people hurt people. We want to get into the homes and try and help our brothers and sisters because we are our brothers and sisters keeper.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. And so you all have diverse backgrounds. Ms. Pratt, you're coming from teaching. Mr. Rogers, you have background in different trades, music. And Ms. Thurston, you have a background within the court system. So you all are coming from different backgrounds. So let's talk about the contribution. What do you think the BCP has to offer the Bahamian people? And what would be a major initiative that you would like to introduce? We'll start with Ms. Pratt, Mr. Rogers, and then Ms. Thurston. Thank you.
Deidre, one of the things that has been lacking in our country for too long is ethical leadership. That is the bane. When I talk about the bane, I mean that is the thing that is hurting us more than anything else in this country. Leaders, one, who care about people, leadership that has the best interest of the Bahamian people at heart, leaders who are not playing a political games in terms of get in power so they could fix themselves and their cronies, fix themselves and those who uh, funded them, sponsored them, to the detriment of the country. This is the problem this is the main problem in our country. And all of it just means corruption. We have, for years, we have had to live with and put up with a systemic corruption in our political system. And so one of the things that attracted me to the BCP, keeps me with the BCP, is the ethical standards that we have. Because first of all, to run as a candidate, you have to be a child of God. You have to at least be a God-fearer. More than anything, you have to be a Christian person, simply because that is a safety net for Bahamians. A Christian is under orders from God to deny yourself and do the things that please me, not yourself. So you don't come as a child of God to any sphere that you're working, whether it's in the medical sector, whether it's tourism, whether it's policing. I don't care what it is. When you operate as a child of God in those sectors, God expects you to be ethical, to do what is right, even if it costs you. And so the BCP wants the Bahamian people to understand that we are going to go into government and we are going to do the best that we can, not because we so much promise the Bahamian people, but because we are under orders from God. I don't want to sound like it's church, but there has to be something higher. There has to be a standard that political leaders hold themselves to. And that is what we do at the BCP. So the BCP, first of all, is going to offer the Bahamian people something that we probably have never had in this country before: ethical leadership, leadership with vision. Without vision, the people perish. And that vision, we know, and people tell us all the time. We read about it, we hear about it from multimillionaires, from billionaires, that all it takes is one little dream, one thing to download into their subconscious, and they understand that we are spirit. And so when we say that we are going to be leaders who listen to God and get our ideas from Him, this is what people are doing all over the world now. They are listening and they are getting creative ideas that's bringing them success. And this is what the BCP party will offer: ethical leadership and leadership with vision, because we are hooking up with God.
Okay, well, yeah, just adding to what Dion has said. The first word I would say, the magical word, is compassion. You see, when your conscience is seared with a hard iron, as the scriptures put it, you become a hard person, and a lot of people don't matter. The only matter is your objectives. But we're not those people, and that's why politics has always separated itself from God. And we know the end result and what it's going to be like when the child will play with the snake, or a lion will roam about and there's no fear. Right now, fear is the main thing that has controlled our country, including what is now prevalent among us, talking about COVID. And we as the BCP, I have a name for it, and I hope they don't mind me saying, it's called Bahamas Constitution Party. First of all, the Constitution states some things that is not prevalent today. And those who know the Constitution know what I'm talking about. But we call it PBC, People Baptized in Christ. Now that sounds, I know, religious or churchy or whatever it is, like Dion was saying. But it's the only way out is through truth. The only way out is to know the way out. And that direction comes really from the Father. We know what's going on in this country. I've been helping out a company called Showman with delivering food that was contracted by Hands for Hunger. And I've been to the rich and the poor. And I've seen the state of the people around. And there's so much that could be done that is not being done. There's so many questions that have not been answered. So we need a people who their lives doesn't matter. We need a set of people who only the lives of others matter. And believe me, that's the way we feel within ourselves. Because it was by chance, I was at a rally and I was asked to see the servant leader, Ali McIntosh. And when I spoke with her, I realized the visions that I've been having all these years is now being fulfilled. And this thing I'm talking about is a very big thing. And I want the people of the Bahamas to know that for a long time, God has been saying, if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and turn from the wicked ways and seek my face, then will I hear from heaven. But God has found the people. God has destined the people to bring this to being. We are that seed that the land will be healed, that the prayers and the answers of the saints, where it seems to be no way out, there is an answer. So compassion gives you a heart for others. And we learn that from our master. Who's our master? Yeshua HaMashiach. He had compassion and miracles happen. If we don't believe in the divine, that's where the lost is. But now, this is the beginning of the end, where God's people will get up and the glory of God will shine from these Bahama Islands, and we will be an example for the world, that they may know that if you want peace, if you want prosperity, if you want truth, if you want to know how to survive, the Bahamas is that place. That's in a nutshell. Thank you.
We, the candidates of the BCP party, we would like to stand on the moral standards and the supremacy of God. Like my brother and my sister say, we don't want to make things sound so churchy and so spiritual, but we know who has all the answers. That's God, our Father. Also, in standing on the supremacy of God, we would like to stand on or offer moral standards. For many years, we have seen leaders who have allowed their moral standards to diminish. And by doing so, accept bribery here and there, let this one do whatever they want to do because they're in high places or because they're family members. But we're not about that. We don't want to buy what we want. We want to earn what God give us. And by doing so, we want to offer a righteous government. And the only way we can offer a righteous government if the people allow us, just give us one term to either mess up or one term to do good. And if we do good in that one term, then you know what to do with the next term. To God be the glory.
I want to thank you for sharing, and I want to thank you for sharing, and you all of you mentioned Christian principles and in which the BCP party was founded. So I was just looking at the comments, and Ian is asking, can you join the party and be an atheist? Is that possible?
Yes, you can, but you can't run as a candidate. We are a party for all Bahamians, even though there is a standard for candidates, and that standard has to be there as a protection for the Bahamian people. if we don't have standards, then the law in the word it says you fall for anything. And that includes bribery, that includes not taking care of your constituents. So you have to have a standard for the candidates.
And so your leader is viewing, she's congratulating you all. She's cheering you all on.
Thank you, servant
So
leader.
Thank
I just
you,
wanted,
Ms. Ali.
wanted to
Yes, thank
mention,
you, servant leader.
I wanted to mention that. And you all talk, as I mentioned before, you talked about the BCP party standing upon Christian principles. And do you think that we're ready for that? Miss Thurston mentioned that we've moved away from it, but do you think that we're ready? We've allowed morals to diminish based on what Miss Thurston said. So do you think that the country is ready for a Christian-led party? I just wanted to throw that out there.
Let me say something there. We have reached a point where determination of where we're going is not based on mainly how people thinking in terms of whether we should have a Christian party or what. I think it's based on the fact that the people need this change and they are open to hear. And right now, there's a lot of battles going on in the atmosphere. And that battle is trying to win over the saints. And so the fact that we being a party that has standards, or we call it the chosen party, we believe that the perception of the heart of the people will move into what is going to make tomorrow a better day for them. That's my little piece. Go ahead, Dion.
Levita, you wanted to say?
Yes. I believe the country is ready for it because back in the day, everything that we did relied on the standards and the word of God. Even from our forefathers, our great-grandmothers always made sure the children went to church. If they didn't go to church, the kids went to church. Back in the day, I feel like things was much better than what it is now because we had grandparents who really had principles. We had grandparents. Now today, we have grandparents and parents sitting in a bar drinking while the children are at home by themselves. Sunday, church almost empty because they don't send the children anymore. Back in the day, those grandparents, those parents sent the kids to church. I always remembered Sunday school. I had to be the church. My mother didn't go, but she made sure I went to church, me and my little brother. And so I believe God wants our nation to come back to him. He wants a change heart to make things better. We cannot continue with the same mindset, doing things the same way we continue to do it. If we continue to do it like this, we're going to get the same results. We need a change.
Deidre, I want to say, I want to meld two thoughts together. The Bahamas Constitution Party is not just, well, we don't project ourselves as a Christian party. You know, we are the Constitution Party. But the beautiful thing about our Constitution is that it says that as a nation in the preamble, that we are going to be a nation that's founded on spiritual values, where we recognize the supremacy of God. So, as a Constitution Party, we aim to uphold the spirit of the Constitution, which is to make sure that we value our spiritual heritage. You cannot ask somebody who does not fear God or respect God or honor God to honor the spirit of the Constitution that says the Bahamas should be a nation where the supremacy of God is recognized. Um, you can't You can't expect that. You can't expect, but I don't want to say ungodly. That just sounds so churchy. But people have to respect you. You will guard and you will honor what you respect and you value. So if you value the thought of God and his presence in our country, and the Bahamas Constitution Party value that because we are the party that values the Constitution, the highest law in our land. You will see that that government, if they value and respect God, they are going to uphold all the laws in the Constitution because they fear God and they want to make sure that he is pleased with what they do. So as the Constitution Party, our main job is to uphold the spirit of that Constitution. And in that Constitution, it says we value and recognize the supremacy of God. And I think people are ready. They're ready for laws to be not just on the books, but to be enforced. They are tired of politicians and governments that think that they are
Yes,
above the law.
yes.
They are tired of that.
Amen.
They're tired of their rights, their constitutional rights, individual fundamental rights and of freedoms, for example, being broken. They're tired of that. And as the Constitution Party,
Yes,
we are committed to upholding that, all of
yes.
that, for everyone. And I mean everyone.
Thank you for sharing. And Ms. Thurston also alluded to that. You want to uphold the Constitution for everyone. And so I just wanted to recognize, I'm looking at the comments again, I just wanted to recognize some of the persons who are viewing with us today or joining us today. Brian Makati, who is also a part of the party, he's sharing you on. Brenda, Brenda is from Eleuthera, so she's saying Eleuthera is in the house.
Hey, Lutra.
And Shay White is listening from Alabama, USA, and he's saying that one have to have a heart of Yeshua to have the heart of the people. And so you have a few persons listening in and cheering you.
Amen.
Yes, yes.
And so I want to talk specifically as we wind down. I want to talk specifically to each of you of your specific plans for your constituency. Is there anything in mind that you want to focus on, any specific area, any area that you think needs to be improved when you look at your constituency that you're running for? If you can speak to that, each of you.
I'm starting. I have to jump ahead of Levita. She likes to jump. This Thursday, that was a joke. Hello. Bamboo Town is pretty spread out. It stretches from Blue Hill Road down to the road that CV Bethel is on. Not CV Bethel, CW is on. Oh my God, I missed the school down there. Anyway, it stretches from Blue Hill Road, goes across to East Street, travels east, Soldier Road, across to Kennedy, comes down into Pinewood. It touches on a lot of different communities. And that's how politics is in the country. So I can't complain. This is what I'm fine. This is what is here. So we have to just work with it. But one of the things that I want to do is try to find the soul of Bamboo Town, try to unite the people as one community. And one of the ways that I will do that, or the Lord be my helper, is through a Bamboo Town festival of some sort. We have to find a unifying theme and soul for Bamboo Town. So in spite of the fact that we are in so many different locations, people feel that they are part of a bigger Bamboo Town community. I also want to, I'm going to be very quick. I also want to encourage or facilitate cottage industries, persons who have business ideas. We want to see more green and sustainable businesses flourishing in Bamboo Town. We also want to connect businesses with the communities. Those businesses that are in Bamboo Town now, they should not, the persons living in Bamboo Town should feel connected to the businesses, the churches, everything in Bamboo Town has to become an ecosystem that supports one another. So we have to work on building connections within the community, helping persons to become more entrepreneurial and business owning, have a business owning mindset. I know it's a very what's the word, residential area with a lot of, the main streets like East Street, Blue Hill Road. They cut right through the constituency and they have a lot of businesses there. But I think our people need to move beyond finding a job. Okay, so they need to start thinking, how can I take my talents and gifts that God has given me and make it happen? And stop depending on Atlantis and Bahama and all these other tourist related things. But beyond that, even though we as a party, we will be focusing on diversifying the economy, which means that tourism may not necessarily be our number one industry any longer because we're moving into manufacturing. We want to export. Um, we also want to develop domestic tourism. So one of the things I will be pushing for Bamboo Town, and as well as talking to all my fellow um, MPs once we get in, I speak it, once we get in, is we have to beautify our constituencies, make them attractive, make them appealing. So we do a lot of cleanup, a lot of painting, a lot of restructuring, a lot of just helping the people to make their homes attractive. And there's a reason for that. We know we have, for example, Airbnb. Airbnb is a big thing. And so we get people just thinking about how can I even rent a portion of my home? Or how can I sell a talent or a skill on Airbnb and make my own money? And so once we start developing, cleaning up the environment, beautifying it, because we have a goal, we want to attract tourists into our constituency. This is my vision for Bamboo. This is my vision for actually for all constituencies in the country. We want to develop that domestic tourism so that, and part of that domestic tourism will entail the beautifying. I mean, I'm talking out of this world beauty now, flowers and um, painting up and all cars of the way and paving and it's going to be wonderful. Just we have to lift the spirits of our people. We've been ground down so much. Oh, this is all you deserve. You don't. All you need is potholes in the road and half done streets. And no, our people deserve better. We need to lift them up so that they can have a higher vision for themselves and for their children and for their country. So we're going to treat them with respect and help their morale, give them morale a boost, and so they have a greater expectation for themselves and their future. Sorry, long-winded. Sorry.
Okay. Well, the word is what? Art Center. Why Art Center? And what is Art Center? You see, education for a long time has been something that was placed on our people to teach them to be workers and good workers. But like Dion had mentioned, we're no longer taking our people down that route. That slave mentality is gone. The Art Center is a place that will encompass all arts built for the Seabreeze constituency, and hopefully will spread, because every person is valuable. Every soul is valuable. Every brain is valuable. One of the things that has been not looked at is the individual gifting that all Bahamians have. Some of the gifts that we have is taking our people to foreign countries, and they're still there. And there's so much gift here. It took me to a lot of countries myself, but I'm home, and I'm home for a reason. So the Arts Center is going to find the gifting of individuals because we're going to cover all the arts, not just music, not just painting, not just agriculture and so forth, because we are planning to have a farm, a neighborhood farm in every constituency, because you have to look at what's coming ahead. Even though it would be an amount of, well, a company of islands set aside from the world, we still need to look ahead and see how we're going to sustain ourselves to what may happen around the world. So we're going to be self-sustaining here. The ghetto areas, we have plans. There's not going to be no ghetto area. It's an easy way to do it. If you look at the way big countries live, they know how to build. And if you build right, there's no ghetto area. There's no more ghetto mentality. No, we are a people that God has given us great knowledge, great wisdom. We've been put down. Our history has been lost. No longer. We're starting our history again afresh as a Bahamian with a new atmosphere. I'd like to tell you something about the atmosphere, but I wouldn't even go there. But I just want people to know that, listen to me. Even if you don't believe in God, just give him a chance. Even if you think there is no God, give him a chance. You give history a chance, give English a chance, give biology a chance, you give science a chance. I'm asking you now to give God a chance and see what you're asking for is about to be presented to you. That's a change. What is a change? A change is something completely different from what you're looking at. That's why it's called a change. And we, the BC people, the Bahamas Constitution Party, it was something Dion mentioned when she quoted the Constitution. I thought she'd mention this part too, and if you could. But any other law that comes about that is not lined up with this Constitution that she read will be null and void. This is in our heart. This is in our spirit. This is in our being. That change is here only by the grace of God, by the pleasure of God, because God wants to find pleasure in us, and he will, and by the will of God. Thank you.
My plan for the constituency of Fort Charlotte is to change the lives of the people. People matter. We are our brothers and sisters' keeper. Too often time, a young man would get in a situation with the law or in school, and he's sent to another institution, and then he comes back for about 2 weeks, and then he gets expelled, according to if he changed or if he does something else. I want to change that. I want to give them some place where they can go, like a community, a community building where they can go every day, they can learn a trade, and then go back into school and get a diploma. Too often times, the young ladies of Fort Charlotte, many of them, teenage pregnancy, and they cannot go back to school. I want to change that. You get in problems with the law, whether you're still in school or not, depends on what it is. Most of the time you get a record. That record stays there for about 7 to 10 years. Nobody goes into the system and clears out your name. You have to be going back and forth to get your name cleared. Sometimes first offenders gets a record. I want to change all of this because we have to give people second chances, third chances. And I want to make sure that something is in place to do follow-ups. We just send these people to these institutions and just leave them. No follow-up. Even with the current bail system, a person get electronically monitored and they go about their business. But I want to put in place where if you want bail, there must be some type of counseling. Go to church at least once a week. I don't want to just think about sending somebody just to prison. Because after you come out of prison, what is there to say, just what I have to show for even my punishment? So I want to tweak the system to help our people, to change the educational system, to change the way we do things, to bring families together, to have a community center where persons will be happy to go to in the constituency of Fort Charlotte. And me being that MP for Fort Charlotte, I'm going to make sure these things that I plan is going to come to fruition.
Thank you. Thank you all for sharing your plans and the constituency that you are presenting yourself for. And we have come to the end of the session, but I would like for you, if you have any pages you want to share or any final comments, to do so. So we'll begin again, Ms. Pratt, Mr. Rogers, and Ms. Thurston.
Thank you, Deidre. I am very grateful for this opportunity to come on and speak to your wider audience, to reassure them that there is an alternative to the F&M and the PLP ping pong machine. Ping pong every 5 years. There's an alternative, and there are people who have the heart and the skills to help this country out of the mess that it's in. I also want to say that, in the BCP, we consider ourselves a family. So what works well? For example, I'm going to borrow Terrence's idea of an art center, and he's going to borrow whatever he finds useful for me. And Lavita, I'll borrow whatever's working for her. I will find a way to work it into my system for Bamboo Town. And that is how we will develop this entire country in terms of getting the best ideas, the most workable ones, feasible ones, and making sure bring them to the people and make them work for the betterment of this country. And so we want persons to be encouraged. We want them to know that all hope is not lost, that there is a change coming, regardless of whether people think there is change coming or not. Change is coming. A new direction and a different direction must happen. We must have it. And I want persons to be encouraged and don't be, so feeling helpless and hopeless. God has not forgotten us. We are still the land where God lives, and we have a future. So blessings to everyone, and to you, Deidre. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you once again, too. Years ago, I pondered on myself, what can we do about crime? How can we really have crime? And that's what I thought of years ago. I've been brought up in the media. I had a company called TMC Studios, Techno Media Center. We produced the #1 television program on ZNS, which was on stage some years ago. And I've been an actor for several years. I'm working for Regency out of Hollywood, and have been in what's it called, Lifetime, and science, fiction, and one big screen movie. And so I realized that I thought about years ago, I said, I'm going to introduce a movie. I know we have people into the movie making already here in the Bahamas, but one professional company that will encompass every aspect, including prison, that give everybody something responsible to do. Everyone who is inactive or find their hand to do something that is not good for the Bahamian public, bring them in, and would help to institute this. You know, I used to help. I have a lot of pastors, and Miles Monroe was one of those. And Miles Monroe, he concentrated on gangs, and he brought them in. So you see, all things are possible. And I believe, I know we can change the way things are, because the change that we feel was given to us by the Father. And we, who are joint heirs with the Son, will see it through. Thank you very much.
My final comments is this. We all want a change, or we should want a change as a people. We have been, like my sister say, the ping pong, back and forth, to and fro. We've tried them all. So let's give the BCP party a chance to either do good or to mess up. And I know we're not gonna mess up as long as God keeps us and continue to strengthen us, as long as we do his will, as long as we walk on his word. And so let's make a change so our children, our grandchildren will benefit from this change that God is going to bring forth. To God be the glory. Be encouraged as a nation, and let's continue to be our brothers and sisters keeper. You cannot go wrong with the cross. You cannot go wrong with God Almighty. God blesses us even when we do wrong. We're not perfect, but he still continues to keep us. He still continues to protect us. So why we keep putting our lives, our country in the hands of leaders that don't see the people, that don't care for the people, that only looking out for their loved ones and themselves. Let every person that is living in this Bahama land get a piece of the action.
Thank you. I want to thank all of you for joining us today. Dion Pratt, Terrence Rogers, Levita Thurston. Thank you for sharing your platform with us today. Is bcpparty.org is the page?
bcpparty.org, yes.
Okay, so I want to thank you for joining us today. I also want to thank our viewers, Brian McCarty, he was listening in, Ali McIntosh, she was listening in and cheering you on. Sonia White, thank you so much for listening in. Brenda Johnson from Eleuthera, Jay White from Alabama, thank you for listening in with us today. And with that, we will end our session today. And comment under our videos. Like our page for future notifications of upcoming discussions. Let us know what you want us to talk about. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, we're on TikTok. So I want to thank you for listening with us today. I want to thank our guests today. And with that, we say good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you.
Have a good and a blessed weekend.
Yes.
Same to you.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you, Ms. Morris.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening, all.